National Arts and Crafts NAC Expo in Abuja, Ogun State occupied the first position at the 14th edition of the event with several awards won. The leader of the cultural delegation and permanent secretary, Ogun State Ministry of Culture and Tourism, Olusegun Olautan, expressed gratitude to the state governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, for his support in the cultural sector of the state, saying the feat was made possible by God and with the encouragement of the state governor. Commending the innovative acumen of the governor in e-marketing, Olautan said this has helped the economic status and foreign investment opportunity and enabled small and medium-scale enterprises to grow their businesses in Ogun State.
I appreciate our governor, our amiable governor, Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun, who has given us this platform by sponsoring us for this INAC Expo 2022 in Abuja. You know, last year we won the championship, and this year again we have also repeated the feat. It's a great feat, and we are all joyful. We are happy. We are happy that we are going to the trophy once again. The main thing that is working for us is that our governor is interested in us. He has seen to our request anytime for this type of occasion. He facilitates our coming. He provides the finance, and from our own end, we also make sure we put the round hole in the round peg. We make sure we put the right person in the right place. We make sure we select the right people that will come up with our performances. So that is the secret behind our success.
The Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Otumba Olusegun Rushewe, charged Nigerians to strive towards peace in order to attract foreign investors. He advised Nigerians to shun fake news and hate speeches as it creates a lot of negative stories about Nigeria, adding that Nigeria is one country and its unity must be protected. He noted that harnessing the value of the sector can reduce crime, unemployment, and other social vices confronting the country.
This I must let all of you understand. We all have only one country, and we must protect our country. There are a lot of negative stories going up here and there, fake news. But what I've succeeded to do today, if there's no peace in Nigeria, over 44 countries will not be coming to celebrate INAC. Today is a day to tell us that we need to put our differences behind. Today we are not discussing Muslim, or Christian, or South, or Southeast. We are discussing what unites us as a people and what can make us to be stronger and better. But however, since I'm lucky to have this platform, a lot of us don't understand the role of this sector. This sector can reduce crime, unemployment, and all the challenges we are facing in this country today.
The event was graced by dignitaries from far and wide, with over 40 countries across the world in attendance. Labor unions and strike actions are older than the country's political independence. For instance, in Nigeria, between June and July 1945, 43,000 workers, most of whom were rendering services vital to the country's economic and administrative life, went on a national strike that lasted for more than 40 days. Is strike the only solution to settle rifts between labor and government? This report provides answers to that question in this package.
Strike always comes with so many economic disadvantages, and there are factors that usually compel the labor unions to embark on strikes in Nigeria, which ranges from refusal to recognize a union or workers group as a collective bargaining party, rejection of unions' demands, among others. Although prolonged strikes negatively affect the perception of the labor union in industrial conflicts management in Nigeria, it has as well not secured industrial harmony in the nation's workforce. But must strike be the only way to settle conflicts between labor and government?
Several other ways, so many of them. We can do conferences, press conferences, engagement with stakeholders, protests and the rest of them. So strike is usually the last option. When all those won't fail, is when you see strike. You see, when government is not responsive to all those actions, all those efforts, then workers will be left with no option than to go on strike.
Most unfortunately, in our climate, especially in Africa, the labor movement, or what I would call the trade union movement, oftentimes result into strike action. It affects productivity, it affects the economy, and most times in the health sector, it leads to deaths that are avoidable. But to me, that shouldn't be the only option. So there are three basic tenets for labor movement before taking such decisions. One is to consult, second is to consolidate, and lastly, the option of strike, which some people call confrontation.
Comrade Olubumi Fajobi is the National Vice President, Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, an affiliate of Trade Union Congress. For him, a collective bargaining must be reached among the two parties.
Strike comes as a very costly option by labor, because ordinarily you don't want to withdraw your services except you have been pinned down. Now, some of your demands were not met, and all entities to ensure that you come to table to discuss it seemed to have failed. However, the government and the labor on their part, and if there's any conciliator, because it's supposed to be a tripartite, the government or the employer, the employee, and a conciliator on one side. Those are the three sides expected in a collective bargaining.
Respondents are ever called for peaceful and harmonious industrial coexistence among labor and its management through collaboration and synergy for optimal productivity.
As the strike embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities stretches over 6 months, Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and Non-Academic Staff Union of the Allied and Educational Institutions, NASU, have suspended the 4-month strike by 2 months. Elizabeth Esson visited the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, to see the effect of the suspension. Her report.
Government-owned universities in Nigeria since February 2022 have been experiencing breakdown of academic activities as both the academic and non-academic staff unions embarked on strike that seems indefinite. Recently, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and Non-Academic Staff Union of Allied and Education Institutions, NASU, suspended their 2-week turned 6-month strike by 2 months for the federal government to honor the agreement between them since 2009.
Still ongoing, but because we have gotten enough commitment for us to believe that we can continue to discuss while negotiations, or we can continue to have discussions. While we discuss, we can open the system, allow our members to go back to work, and then negotiations continue.
To a polytechnic lecturer, a public affairs analyst, and an activist, the 2 months given by SANU and NASU is more than enough for the federal government to revisit their demands and honor the agreement by them.
I think that they have done the normal thing that should be done in situations like this. Giving them 2 months. Okay, after 2 months, if you don't actually implement all the promises that you have given us, then of course we will go on strike. That is to be expected, and I think NASU has done very well, and that's an impositoire. So let us hope and pray that the government will be able to will do what it promised to do.
I suggest ASU should also have a shift of ground, even if they can't pay the whole 6 months, maybe we forfeit 3 months, you pay 3 months and things like that. But we are interested in seeing our younger brothers and our sisters go back to school. 6 months. Many of them have taken up so many menial jobs.
Well, SANU, NASU, they will only perform their own duties on this side, but on the other side, ASU will determine whether the situation has come to normalcy or not. And the agitation of ASU is a legitimate agitation.
Will the step taken by SANU and NASU have any effect on ASU's decision?
The agitations are not the same. The issues are not the same. Out of about 8 agitations that SANU and NASU are fighting for, perhaps only 1 or 2 are intertwined with that of ASUS. So they have their separate issues with government, different from our own. It's not like we have, and that is why they started their strike almost 2 months before we started ours. So we have different issues. Our issues are not the same. So to the extent that our issues are not the same, we cannot have the same strategies to resolve them.
The strike, which was suspended on Saturday, 28 August 2022, was embarked on by SANU and NASU on March 27, 2022, calling for renegotiation of the 2009 agreement, payment of earned allowances, usurpation of non-academic career positions by vice-chancellors, the inclusion of university staff school into the university community, non-payment of minimum wage arrears, and funding of state universities. Elizabeth Esson, OGTV News.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has been accused of attempting to hold the nation and citizens to ransom. The leadership already declared that their industrial action would continue until the federal government commits to the payment of salaries from February till date. The Nigerian Project Initiative and the Initiative to Save Democracy, ISD, expressed outrage over the request and threatened demonstrations. Mohammed Salisu and Akinloye James of these societies condemned the vow by ASU to keep the students at home. In a joint statement, the civil society organizations described the stance of the lecturers as hollow, self-centered, and vexatious. They said it was provoking that other unions in the academic community have decided to end their face-off with the authorities, while ASU remains adamant. The statement announced the plan to mobilize other civil societies for a showdown against the university workers. Still to come on the news, Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria bans use of foreign TV. The newly constructed Ileshan-Agoiwe Road has earned the government of Ogun State a vote of confidence. A cross-section of non-indigenes and indigenes of Agoiwe and its environs who spoke with our news crew described the project as an example of a people-oriented project. Fora Adeso completes the story.
A journey from Ileshan to Agoiwoye, with everything being equal, is now 10 minutes drive. This is a departure from the past where the roads was not only a death trap but an endless trip of tears, sorrow and pains.
They do good for our co, because before we know they see people they come for market, but now the market is okay. People they come, they buy the market. We learn, they say we get paraten, we they carry motor, they load and go Lagos. We they see motor before now 55 we they pay motor now 40,000.
This road, Ileshan-Agoiwoye Road, probably by extension to Ijebu, has been known for long, neglected for long. It's a thing of joy for all of us in Agoiwoye community and all the users of this road down to Ijebu that the government of Prince Dapo Abiodun has turned his satellite on this road to get it done once and for all. So we are very grateful to him. Very, very grateful.
For decades, the dilapidation of Ileshan-Agoiwoye Road was what the agrarian people of Ako, Agoiwoye and its environs have to take or live with no hope on sight.
It's a real blessing to us, and we thank God, we thank His Excellency, the governor of the people, the governor of his wards. Whenever he says yes, it's yes, always yes. He made promise, and the promise was kept. We really thank him for this road.
At the point, the road was abandoned for alternative routes, thereby allowing dangerous animals and men of underworld to lay siege for unsuspected and uninformed prey.
It's like a transit road. We have farm settlements. A lot of crops and farm produces would also be taken through that road. And I think that has been put into consideration as well. There are villages to the right, to the left. Almost every kilometer there is a village. So it's a safe road.
The irony of it all was the location of one of the Ogun State-owned tertiary institutions, Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwoye, on the road.
Of course, my vote will go to him, appreciating what he has done, this road he has done for us.
I think the road should be able to cope. I look at the contractors. I spoke with one or two of them. I could be very adventurous. And of course, I stamped my feet on the road like a test. I think they are doing a wonderful job. It will stand the test of time. Places where they may have problems are the bridges that were built before this resumption of construction. But I think as at yesterday or day before yesterday, I passed through the road. They are working on it to make sure it is very solid.
A professor in the university who resides at Ilishon says the construction of the road has brought a lot of succor and great relief to him. Farmers in the area are saying their heart is with Prince Dapo Abiodun's administration, hoping that the project would be fully completed on its return after the 2003 elections. Adefowora, Adesanwo, OGTV News.
The federal government has said although the decline of malaria prevalence from 42% in 2010 to 23% in 2020 was commendable, it remains committed to ending Nigeria's reign at the top of the global prevalence table. Minister of Environment Barrister Hassan Abdullahi on Monday reiterated the determination of the President Buhari-led administration to further reduce the malaria scourge to the barest minimum through deliberate targeted interventions in policy implementation. Abdullahi said according to the World Health Organization, WHO, Nigeria has the world's highest malaria burden with an annual reported cases of 51,207,000 deaths, representing nearly 30% of the total malaria in Africa. It is also estimated that nearly 173 million Nigerians are at risk of being infected. It is also estimated that Nigerians lose money running into hundreds of billions of naira, wherein if every infected person treats just a bout of malaria infection with an average of 2,000 naira twice every year. Though the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, has shifted the revocation of licenses of broadcasting organizations owing till Wednesday, 24th of August 2022, it has been observed that the action was ill-timed. The Executive Secretary of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, Dr. Yemisi Bangbushe, said this in an interview with OGTV News. In an update on this development and other related issues, Bumi Adigun has more in this package.
On Friday, 19th August 2022, the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, revoked the licenses of 54 television and radio stations, both private and public-owned, over a 2.6 billion naira debt. The Commission ordered the affected stations to shut down in the next 24 hours and directed NBC offices nationwide to collaborate with the security agencies to ensure immediate compliance.
Not only private radio or television stations are affected, all broadcast stations who have not renewed their license for the current duration are advised to do so within the next 30 days to avoid sanction. The Commission also calls on all IPTV, Internet Protocol Television, and all other broadcast stations that are streaming online to register with the Commission to avoid disconnection. Broadcasters should note that having a DTT or FM licensed station does not warrant a broadcaster to stream online.
Dr. Yemisi Bangbushe is the Executive Secretary of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, an association that binds both private and public broadcasters in Nigeria together, says they are critically looking at NBC's directive.
It's very hard. The only, and I think this should be known to everybody, the only sector that is serving as the the whipping boy, as it were, in Nigeria today is the media sector. You see, they look at the cost of running the stations now. For any media organization that wants to run a 24 hours transmission, as of today, will be spending an average of ₦1 million per day on diesel, because the cost of diesel per liter is floating between 900 and 1,000 naira, and then you are using a 500 kVA generator. So we are working. As I'm speaking with you, efforts are being made.
Dr. Yemisi Bangboche pointed out that the revocation of licenses coming at a wrong time.
It's going to boomerang. You let me tell you, closing down 54 stations at a time in Nigeria in this particular time of insecurity. The only veritable source of information that people rely on is the broadcast media. So if you shut down stations in Yobe, stations in Sokoto, in Kaduna, in Katsina, you can see that they will take the advantage of that, and the insecurity will just come back in a big bang. So that one is there, that government is not looking at, but we are calling the attention of government to that, so that the media will not be held responsible.
Mr. Eddie Aino, a former director of National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, said while most stations were caged in the current economic situation in the country, these stations were probably paying lip service to the lifeline given by NBC to offset the debts.
The reason it's becoming pronounced this period is because some of these owners, rather than retain only one license, they got about 5, 6, 10 licenses. I recall there is a station that is a proprietor that has licenses virtually all over in the name of networking. Fine, if you want to network, then you must be ready to pay for that network. But the fact remains that stations have refused to pay, some 10 years, some 8 years, and NBC brought out a national list in the national newspaper. They said this is a list of people. In fact, you can imagine 50 stations, and the regulatory agency has to run. That's just the pity of it all.
As at the time of filing this report, so many stations who are caught in the web have started paying their dues as they were afraid of being shut down from the airspace, and this could affect their operations and their daily income. Bumi Adigun, OGTV News.
The Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ARCON, has banned the use of foreign voice-over artists and models from Saturday, October 1. ARCON Director General Olalekan Fadolapo, in a statement, said the ban is in line with the federal government's policy to develop local talent and inclusive economic growth for sectors of the country, including advertising. The Director General added that all advertisements and marketing communications materials are to make use of only Nigerian artists and models. He explained that ongoing advertising and marketing campaigns are permitted to run out of their duration, after which the ban will be enforced. He said subsequent applications for revalidation for continued exposure of such materials will not be granted by the Advertising Standards Panel. ARCON urged all advertisers, advertising agencies, media houses, advertising communities, and the general public to take note of the ban. The federal government says the newly completed Terminal 2 of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos has the capacity to process 14 million passengers per annum. Minister of Information and Culture Alhaji Lai Mohammed disclosed this in Lagos while inspecting the terminal and its state-of-the-art facilities and fittings. The minister conducted round the project by the Captain Rabiu Yugudu, Managing Director of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, said the new international terminal was not built to replace Terminal 1, but to complement it. And the federal government has said that the Lekki Deep Seaport project will create 112,000 jobs to Nigerians upon its completion. Minister of Transportation Muhazu Sambu said this in Jalingo, Taraba State Capital, while addressing journalists. Sambu said that the port, which is second in Nigeria after on a deep sea port, will bring more tonnage and revenue to the port and the country. He further said that the project would impact positively on the nation's economy. The minister said the Lekki Deep Sea Port project is the second after on a deep sea port in Nigeria, and it's significant because the largest ships in the world come berth at the port. The Osun State 2022 Election Petition Tribunal on Monday granted the ex parte applications filed by Governor Gboyega Oyetola of the All Progressives Congress (APC). The tribunal ordered that the petition notice should be pasted on the tribunal's notice board as another means to serve State Governor-elect Senator Ademola Adeleke. The tribunal also ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to release Osun election materials used at the poll to Oyetola and the APC for inspection. The tribunal panel chairman, Tessia Algon Kume, said, and a member, Benedict Amango Oguli, presided over the sitting, which was held at the premises of the State High Court in Osogbo. It will be recalled that INEC had declared Adeleke the winner of the July 16 governorship election in Osun State, having polled a total number of 403,271 votes, as against 375,027 polled by Governor Oyetola. Also, the court granted the second application of Oyetola, who sought an order of inspection of documents from the first respondent, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. This is a sad one. 3 persons have been confirmed dead from the impact of the collapsed concrete scaffold on a bungalow in Bariga area of Lagos. For residents of the Adile Street, Bariga, Lagos, Sunday, August 21 was a normal day until the concrete scaffold in another premises collapsed on their own bungalow, killing 2 persons on the spot, while one Kudirat Aziz was rescued. According to the survivor, they were inside while the building suddenly collapsed on them. Her sisters, she learned, have been taken to a nearby hospital. News of the death of the 4 victims trickled in while they were still at the scene of the incident, grappling with the reality. The deceased persons were said to be members of the same family.
I just see one girl out of the 4 people that inside shouting, help me, help me, help me. So I'm the one that use hand to break all this thing to promote the girl out.
Other residents of the affected building who gave accounts of how the incident occurred are now lamenting the 7-day ultimatum given to them by the government to vacate the engendered structure.
Go inside now to go and check out the pillar over there. The deep is not up to 2 feet. And it is on top of the SWC over there.
Lagos State Building Control, they have taken the right steps. They have sealed my house. It's unfortunate that we are not the cause of this problem.
In the meantime, the 2-story building that housed the collapsed scaffold has been sealed by the Lagos State Building Control Agency. As at the time of this report, the collapsed scaffold has been dismantled by officers of LAPCA, while owners of the 2-story buildings was not on the ground, as he is said to be out of the country. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has predicted cloudy and thundery weather activities from Monday to Wednesday across the country. NIMET's weather outlook released in Abuja predicted cloudy atmosphere on Monday over the northern region, with prospects of thunderstorms over parts of Adamawa, Taraba, Bauchi, Gombe, and Kaduna states during the morning hours. The reports have it that thunderstorms are anticipated over the northwestern parts later in the day, while isolated thunderstorms are anticipated over the northern eastern parts of the country. The agency forecast moderate rains over the entire region later in the day, leaving out Bayelsa and Delta, where cloudiness is expected. And rain has destroyed houses and farmlands after a heavy downpour in Babura local government area of Jigawa State. A resident narrated to journalists that the incident occurred at Masco village. He said this followed a heavy downpour that had wreaked havoc in the area and destroyed farmlands and houses. The reports added that most of the residents of the area lost their farm produce and houses and are now taking shelter in public buildings. Babura Local Government Council Chairman Alhaji Lawan Ismail also confirmed the incident to newsmen while consoling the victims. He said over 1,500 farmlands and 700 houses were destroyed by the flood and highest balls in over 12 communities. Lawan, however, urged the state and national emergency management agencies and relevant stakeholders to come to the aid of the victims. Improving on the welfare of officers and men of the Nigerian Army is one of the cardinal objectives towards providing not only the state-of-the-art infrastructure, but also to boost the morale of its officers to effectively discharge their duties. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, harped on this during the inauguration of the regiment's Sergeant Major House in Makurdi, Benue State. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, has received by top military officers of the Nigerian Army Squad Military Engineering NASME. He then proceeded to the inauguration of the regiment's Sergeant Major House, RSM. The Army General also underscored the significance of the rank of RSM in the military and assured of his determination to continue to improve on the infrastructure of officers and men of the Army across the country. The resilience of the officers of the fight against insurgents in the country. He has also departed to Abuja. Meanwhile, the army has said it will investigate after 2 soldiers were reportedly arrested over the murder of an Islamic cleric in Yobe State, Sheikh Goni Gashua. According to a statement signed by Army spokesman Kennedy Ayawu, the Army is already in touch with the Yobe State Police Command to unravel the identity of the suspected soldiers, and additionally, the sector has instituted a board of inquiry to unravel the circumstances surrounding the unfortunate incidents. Consequently, the sector commiserates with the family of the victim, the good people of Yobe State, and promised that justice will be served accordingly. The enclave of the leader of the Islamic State of West African Province, ISWAP, Fia Ba Yoram in Sambisa Forest, has come under heavy bombardment from the Nigeria Air Force. Fia Bam Yoram reportedly succeeded the late Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau after he was killed by a rival terror group after taking over the leadership of the Boko Haram sect. He switched allegiance to ISWAP. NAF Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Edward Gapswek, confirmed the airstrikes. He said the strikes were carried out in some specific targets in the Turbans and Sambisa, with varying degrees of successes recorded, adding that the NAF would, however, be drawn into the details of those neutralized. The Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, and other security agencies have continued to synergize and pool their resources together towards ensuring that terrorists, insurgents, and other criminal elements are completely eliminated for the sake of peace and security of the nation. Up next, we serve you some business reports.
Welcome to the business segment of the news. The federal government has completed the takeover of 4 electricity distribution companies and constituted the board of the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo said the newly constituted board of the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company would enhance ongoing efforts to resolve the liabilities relating to tariff shortfalls for power distribution companies nationwide. According to a statement signed by the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Laolu Akonde, Osinbajo made the assertion on his remarks delivered virtually at the inauguration of the new 10-member board of NEMCO. The Vice President also mandated the board composed of Ministers of Finance, power, and others to protect the interest of the society, particularly ordinary citizens. Meanwhile, the recent one-day strike by workers of the Transmission Company of Nigeria crashed Nigerian power generation from a peak of 4,829.5 megawatts to as low as 43 megawatts, according to data obtained from the Federal Ministry of Power. Staff of the Transmission Company, under the aegis of the National Union of Electricity Employees, shut down the country's power grid last Wednesday, throwing businesses and other power consumers into darkness. They went on strike in protest against the compulsory promotion interview for principal managers, unpaid entitlement, among other issues, and crippled the country's power supply for several hours before the intervention of the federal government. Latest figures obtained in Abuja on the country's power grid performance indicated that peak power generation on Tuesday before the workers' strike was 4,829.5 megawatts. But as the workers turned off the power stations one after the other during the industrial action on Wednesday, as seen in the viral video that was circulated online, electricity generation on the grid eventually collapsed to 43 megawatts. Farmers have cried out over the 60 billion naira spent on palm oil imports and urged the government to use the industry to create employment in order to alleviate the high level of poverty in the country. Figures from the Nigerian Port Authority and the National Bureau of Statistics have shown that the inflows of palm oil imports through the seaport stand at 61.9 billion naira. Shipping data from the NPA also show that the country took delivery of 19,200 tons. Speaking at a forum organized by Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation in Lagos, the Managing Director of Farmers Development Service Limited and advisor to Plantation Owners Forum of Nigeria, Mr. Fatai Afolabi, urged the government to use the palm oil industry to create employment and reduce poverty. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics says price of selected food items increased in July. It made the declaration in its Selected Food Price Watch report for July 2022 released in Abuja on Monday. The NBS stated that the average price of 1 kg of white beans rose by 23.22% from 444.21 in July 2021 to 547.38 naira in July 2022. On a month-on-month basis, the price increased by 2.09% from 536.17 in June 2022 to 547.38 in July 2022, it added. Undisbursed loans may drive Nigerians' debts to the World Bank from $12.72 billion to $21.15 billion. This shows that the yet-to-be disbursed loan can increase Nigeria's debts to the lending institution by 66.27%. The audited financial statement of the World Bank for the fiscal year 2022 showed that the bank was yet to disburse about $8.12 billion to Nigeria as of June 30, 2022. A breakdown further showed that the undisbursed loan included $7.60 billion from the International Development Association and $504 million from the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. These undisbursed loan encompass loan approved but not signed, as well as the signed loan commitment. Explaining the reason for the yet-to-be disbursed loan, particularly the signed loan commitments, the bank said that these loans are not effective and disbursements do not start until the borrowers and or guarantors take certain actions and furnished documents. Finally, the Federal Competition and Consumers Protection Commission says it has ordered telecommunication technology companies, including mobile networks, operators, and digital financial payment systems, to start providing service to digital lenders who are targets of investigation and operating without regulatory approval. The Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Officer Babatunde Irukera, said this is to end the activities of money lenders who have found new ways to operate despite being under investigation for their unethical and exploitative practice in the industry. It said in a statement that some of the lenders have leveraged technology and other financial service alternatives to circumvent account freezing and APP suspension. Others. And that was the biggest segment of the news. We now go back to Wale for the rest of the news.